Breakfast in America has always had its icons: fluffy pancakes stacked high, sizzling bacon, scrambled eggs, and of course the humble waffle. But here's a surprising fact that might make you rethink that toaster in your kitchen. Americans spend close to $1 billion every year on frozen waffles. That's not just a breakfast item, that's a billion-dollar craving. Whether it's a rushed school morning or a midnight snack, millions of these golden squares find their way from freezers to toasters across the United States. They're crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and ready in minutes. But behind every box of waffles at the supermarket lies a fascinating story of food science, history, and industrial-scale engineering. How did a medieval street snack become one of the biggest breakfast industries in America? And how do modern factories manage to turn liquid batter into perfectly shaped, freezer-ready waffles at speeds and volumes that are almost hard to believe? Let's dive into the world of waffles and later take a peek at another American frozen favorite, the ice cream cone, because together they tell a story about how tradition, technology, and appetite shaped the way we eat today. The story of waffles begins long before the freezer aisle. In medieval Europe, street vendors would pour a simple mix of flour and water onto patterned irons and hold them over open flames. These were the ancestors of today's waffles, crispy, warm, and easy to carry. Dutch settlers brought this tradition to America in the 1600s, where it blended into the developing food culture of the colonies. But waffles as we know them, something you can pop in the toaster, didn't arrive until 1953. That was the year Kellogg's Eggo introduced the first frozen waffle, and it completely changed the breakfast game. Suddenly, families didn't need to mix batter, heat irons, or even wash dishes. They could just open a box, drop a waffle into the toaster, and breakfast was ready in minutes. Convenience became king, and the frozen waffle became a staple. Fast forward to today, and the frozen waffle industry is worth over $1.1 billion in the U.S. Brands like Eggo dominate the market, with private labels following closely behind. And the demand is staggering. Factories run around the clock, producing hundreds of millions of waffles every year. These aren't boutique bakeries, they're high-tech facilities that look more like laboratories than kitchens. Here, every step is guided by precision, automation, and quality control. Each waffle isn't just food. It's the result of years of engineering, research, and strict food safety regulations. The process begins in massive stainless steel tanks, each holding hundreds of gallons of raw ingredients. Automated systems measure out flour, eggs, vegetable oil, sugar, and leavening agents with pinpoint accuracy. Human error isn't part of the equation. Computers and sensors track every ounce, ensuring that the recipe never varies. Giant mixers then whip the ingredients into a smooth, uniform batter. Within minutes, what started as raw flour and liquid transforms into a glossy mix, ready for baking. Technicians and machines constantly monitor moisture levels, viscosity, and texture. If even a single batch is off, it won't make it to the next stage. Once the batter is ready, it flows onto an endless line of sizzling hot waffle plates. Each iron is heated to more than 400 degrees Fahrenheit, ready to stamp the batter into that iconic grid pattern. The plates clamp shut, and as the conveyor moves forward, the batter bakes in less than 2 minutes. Robotic arms rotate and flip the plates to guarantee even browning on both sides. The heat is perfectly calibrated, so every waffle emerges golden, crisp, and identical. Any waffle that's too light, too dark, or uneven is immediately removed by automated systems before it can reach packaging. Factories pride themselves on consistency. Your waffle in California tastes exactly like one in New York because every detail is engineered. After baking, the waffles don't go straight into boxes. They're still warm, which means moisture could cause them to turn soggy. To prevent this, the waffles are flash frozen in tunnel freezers set to temperatures colder than -30 degrees Fahrenheit. Within minutes, the heat inside each waffle is locked in place, preserving the crisp texture and sealing in freshness. Workers in insulated suits monitor the process, making sure safety and quality standards are never compromised. This rapid freezing is what makes frozen waffles possible. It ensures they'll taste oven-fresh weeks or even months later when you finally pull them out at home. From there, the waffles glide under cameras and lasers that scan for imperfections in size, shape, or color. Anything that doesn't meet exact factory standards is whisked away. Human inspectors double-check the work, providing one final layer of quality control. Only the waffles that pass every test are stacked, packaged, and sealed into boxes. Machines then label them with expiration dates and send them off to storage. Within an hour of being liquid batter, those waffles are ready for supermarket shelves. Trucks transport them across the country, and just like that, they become part of America's daily routine. Waffles aren't just food, they're cultural touchstones. Many Americans remember their first frozen waffle as a kid, maybe drowned in maple syrup, maybe topped with peanut butter or ice cream. They're quick, versatile, and nostalgic. For some, it's a Saturday morning ritual. For others, it's comfort food after a long day. The frozen waffle has become part of the American identity, bridging convenience and tradition in a single golden square. But waffles aren't the only frozen treat with a fascinating backstory. If waffles define the start of the day, ice cream cones define summer afternoons, childhood memories, and sweet indulgence. Think about that perfect drumstick cone: crunchy shell, creamy ice cream, chocolate topping, maybe a sprinkle of nuts. According to Statista and Denali Ingredients, Americans buy over 1 billion prepackaged ice cream novelties each year, generating nearly $8 billion in sales. That's more than just a dessert, it's a cultural phenomenon. But how does a liquid mixture of milk and sugar become the perfectly shaped, creamy, chocolate-coated cone we pull from the freezer? The journey of a packaged ice cream cone begins in towering stainless steel vats, where milk, cream, sugar, and stabilizers are combined. The ingredients are carefully measured by automated systems to ensure every batch begins exactly the same. Industrial mixers then blend the mixture into a silky base. To make it safe and uniform, the base is pasteurized, heated to eliminate harmful bacteria but not so much that it loses its fresh dairy flavor. Sensors constantly test sweetness, fat content, and consistency, ensuring the foundation is perfect before moving on. Next comes homogenization. At pressures exceeding 2000 psi, fat molecules are broken down so finely that the base becomes smooth and stable. This step eliminates any graininess and guarantees that when air is added later, it blends evenly, giving ice cream its famously creamy mouthfeel. Once homogenized, the mixture enters continuous freezers, where it's churned at high speeds while carefully injected with air. This aeration is essential. Without it, the ice cream would be dense and icy. By adding just the right amount, typically 30 to 50% of the final volume, the mixture transforms into a light, smooth texture that melts perfectly on the tongue. At this stage, the ice cream is soft and pliable, ready to be shaped. Cones are baked on-site in large ovens, crisp and warm, waiting to be filled. Automated machines swirl the soft ice cream into each cone with flawless precision, layering it to create that classic look. Then comes the magic touch, the chocolate coating. The cones are dipped or topped with melted chocolate, which hardens instantly upon contact with the cold ice cream. Some are sprinkled with nuts or candy pieces, adding crunch and flavor. Finally, the cones are sent through blast freezers, locking everything into place at sub-zero temperatures. Within minutes, a simple mixture of dairy and sugar has become a perfectly packaged dessert. From there, packaging machines wrap each cone in branded paper or plastic sleeves, sealing in freshness and protecting the delicate shape. Boxes are loaded, stacked, and shipped to supermarkets nationwide. Just like waffles, the entire journey, from liquid base to finished product, happens in less than an hour. It's efficiency, science, and tradition all rolled into one delicious experience. What makes both frozen waffles and ice cream cones remarkable isn't just their taste, it's how they embody American culture. They're symbols of convenience, innovation, and shared memories. Waffles represent busy mornings, family breakfasts, and quick solutions. Ice cream cones represent joy, nostalgia, and summer freedom. Both are products of industries that blend food science with consumer demand, turning everyday cravings into billion-dollar businesses. And while they may seem simple, every bite is the result of careful engineering, strict quality control, and a little bit of history carried forward. Have you ever opened a box of ice cream cones and faced that little moment of indecision? Do you eat the chocolate-covered one first, or do you save it for last as the grand finale? It's the kind of small but delicious dilemma that instantly reminds us just how much joy these frozen treats bring. What might surprise you, though, is the journey each cone takes before it ends up in your freezer. Behind every bite is an intricate dance of science, engineering, and tradition, all working together to guarantee that creamy texture, crisp cone, and sweet toppings stay perfect from the factory floor to your kitchen table. Let's take a behind-the-scenes tour into the hidden world of frozen desserts and baked favorites, where ordinary ingredients are transformed into extraordinary foods that Americans enjoy every single day. The process begins with ice cream itself, the star of the show. In massive mixing tanks, cream, sugar, milk solids, stabilizers, and flavorings are combined before being whipped with carefully measured amounts of air. This aeration is what gives ice cream its light, melt-in-your-mouth texture, and the balance has to be just right. Too little and the ice cream is dense and heavy, too much and it collapses into icy foam. Once the mixture reaches that perfect balance, Robotic scoops portion the creamy blend into neat, round balls that glide down a moving conveyor, landing precisely on top of golden brown waffle cones that have been baked fresh only moments before. Some cones get a little extra magic along the way. Depending on the recipe or brand, factories add a drizzle of chocolate inside the cone to prevent sogginess, or they shower the top with chopped nuts, candy bits, or cookie crumbles. These finishing touches add texture and flavor while creating that signature bite that so many people look forward to. From there, the filled cones are sent into an enormous blast freezer, a chilling tunnel where icy air circulates at incredible speed. Within minutes, the cones are frozen solid, locking in their structure, flavor, and creaminess. This quick freeze process is essential. It ensures the ice cream won't form large ice crystals, which would ruin its smooth texture by the time you get it home. Once they're completely set, the cones are ready for packaging. Each one is carefully wrapped in plastic or slipped into a protective sleeve to guard against freezer burn. Robotic arms then group them into cartons, sealing the boxes tightly and stamping them with best buy dates and traceable batch codes. These codes might look like random numbers, but they're crucial for food safety, allowing manufacturers to trace every cone back to its exact production line and time of day. Finally, the boxes are stacked onto tall pallets and rolled into massive freezer warehouses, where they wait in the cold until trucks arrive to deliver them to supermarkets and convenience stores across the country. It's a streamlined process that blends old-fashioned indulgence with high-tech precision, all so you can enjoy the simple pleasure of pulling a perfect ice cream cone from the freezer whenever you like. But if you thought frozen cones were impressive, the world of baked goods offers an equally fascinating story. Take breadsticks, for example, the unsung heroes of family dinners, pizza nights, and restaurant tables. Soft on the inside, crisp on the outside, and sometimes coated in garlic and cheese, breadsticks are a staple that has grown into a multi-million-dollar industry in the U.S., with billions of servings consumed every year. The story of breadsticks stretches back over 300 years to northern Italy, where a duke reportedly requested a food that was easier to digest than heavy loaves of bread. Bakers responded by rolling dough into long, thin sticks and baking them until crisp. These grissini, as they were called, became a hit across Europe and eventually made their way to America. By the 20th century, U.S. factories had adopted the idea, producing breadsticks at scale for restaurants, pizzerias, and grocery store shelves. Today, it's hard to imagine a pizza order or pasta dinner without a side of warm breadsticks. Modern breadstick production starts with giant sacks of flour, high-gluten flour to be precise, which provides the elasticity needed for that signature chew. Inside enormous mixers, flour is blended with water, yeast, sugar, salt, and a touch of oil. Automated systems measure and add each ingredient with perfect accuracy, ensuring consistency from batch to batch. Spiraling steel arms knead the mixture into a smooth, elastic dough, while temperature and humidity controls ensure the yeast activates properly. Even a small shift in these conditions can affect how the dough rises, so factories monitor every detail with laser-like precision. Once the dough reaches the ideal elasticity, it's sent into proofing chambers, warm, humid rooms where yeast works its magic. Over the course of about an hour, the dough doubles in size, forming the tiny air pockets that make breadsticks light and airy inside. From there, giant rollers flatten the dough sheets, and high-speed blades cut them into uniform strips. Machines then shape the dough into twists, curves, or classic straight sticks, depending on the recipe. Some factories even use robotic arms to gently twist each stick before it heads into another proofing tunnel for a shorter rise. At this point, the breadsticks are ready for their transformation in the oven. Industrial tunnel ovens, sometimes stretching longer than a basketball court, bake thousands of sticks at once. The heat is carefully zoned, starting with high temperatures to create a crisp outer crust, then tapering down to ensure the inside remains soft and chewy. Within minutes, the dough turns golden brown, filling the air with that irresistible aroma of fresh bread. As soon as they emerge, quality control experts test a few samples, checking the color, crunch, and texture to make sure every stick meets the brand's standard. Freshly baked breadsticks don't stop there. Many factories add finishing touches, from garlic and herb seasonings to buttery glazes that give them shine and flavor. Automated sprayers drizzle oils or melted butter evenly across each stick, while seasoning lines shower them with cheese, herbs, or salt. Once cooled, the breadsticks are sorted and placed into protective packaging to prevent breakage. Like ice cream cones, every bag is stamped with a freshness date before being boxed and sent to warehouses for nationwide distribution. It's fascinating to realize that the same principles apply whether we're talking about frozen cones or baked breadsticks. Precise measurements, high-tech machinery, and a dedication to consistency ensure that no matter where you live in the US, your food will look, taste, and feel exactly the same. This attention to detail is what allows everyday foods to become iconic favorites. Think about the frozen waffle you popped into your toaster this morning, the breadsticks that came with your pizza last Friday, or the ice cream cone you treated yourself to on a hot summer afternoon. Each of these foods represents not only a tradition of flavor but also an enormous amount of behind-the-scenes engineering. Conveyor belts, robotic arms, blast freezers, and ovens stretching 100 feet long all play a role in transforming basic ingredients, flour, cream, sugar, yeast, into something comforting, familiar, and delicious. The next time you bite into a crisp cone filled with vanilla ice cream, or tear apart a warm breadstick dipped in marinara, remember that you're enjoying the final step in a journey that involves centuries of tradition and some of the most advanced food technology in the world. From Italian dukes to American pizza nights, from massive freezer warehouses to your own dining table, these foods have become staples because factories have learned how to combine creativity, science, and craftsmanship on an industrial scale. And that's the beauty of food manufacturing in America. It's not just about churning out millions of identical products. It's about making sure each one feels personal, reliable, and just as satisfying as the last. Whether it's the crunch of a breadstick or the smooth sweetness of an ice cream cone, there's a world of innovation hidden in every bite. And now, when you open that box of cones or pull warm breadsticks from a bag, you'll know just how much care and technology went into creating them.